fun.
Right, here we go. Now mine is so dumb and not at all sports related. There was footage. There was footage of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George playing golf, hanging out in Hawaii. Do you know what Kawhi Leonard was drinking in this video? It happens to be my favorite drink.
I know.
Here comes the one.
Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Auslund. It is a new week. Last week, if you missed some of the shows, we had La Murray on from The Athletic. That was a 2-hour edition. I don't know if this one will go as long. Our guest may be a little too busy for that. They have real lives going on right now. In fact,
just one of us. Just one of us.
Oh, what do you mean? You got the Kawhi jersey on. That's real right there.
That's right. I might get injured an hour
This is serious. Chris, this is serious. This is Adam's show, not our show. Now let's let him intro his show. This is serious.
Look, you can get the toot going in just a second. I just want to intro you. Joining the show today are the guys from the longest running Clippers podcast, and they'll let you know it. It's Chris, Kawhi, and Henry managing my expectations. Burbank, hey,
throwback. What up, Austin?
On Clippers Talk.
We are such big fans of your show, man, and of you as a person. Thanks for having us on, Adam.
Yo, Adam, like real talk. Like I listen to Clipper Talk on the way out of the building, like almost every game, and the worst is this is why I don't like Kawhi Leonard post game, because he takes so long and you're waiting and waiting and waiting. And then by the time he goes on, you get in the car to drive home, you turn on the show. The show is like in its last bit. You're like, no, he's wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Curse you, Kawhi. Curse you, Claw. Curse you. But he hasn't been that bad these past few seasons with like taking 45 minutes, whatever, to go to the post-game press conference.
Yeah, whatever his post-game workout routine was the first couple of years with the Clippers seems different than it is now, but I understand that part.
Yeah, and none of them are working.
I was going to say his workout routine post-game smelled a lot like a skunk.
Guys, it's too early in the show for this.
Stay positive.
The whole locker room smelled like Otto's jacket.
Easy, Chris.
That's a Simpsons reference.
I'm cutting all of this out. No. Okay, I want to start with this before we get to the Clippers, before we get to Kawhi, and I brought him up. It's my fault.
Great.
But when I mentioned you guys have the longest running Clippers podcast, and I just told you this off air, I found an old tweet from 2013.
Yeah, that's
where I was trying to help promote you guys because you were interested in getting on the station with AM 570. You're like, how can we get on? I'm like, you might have to be an employee here, but I tried to show some love to the podcast. So how long has it been going? Because that was 2013. It was that.
We started in 2012. This is our 13th season. Hank and I started together being season ticket holders in 2002. We became Clipper Nation because of the Knuckleheads. It was hip to clip back in 2001. You know, like the diplomats, like Cameron and Joel Santana, and those guys were wearing Clippers jerseys in their music videos. It used to be cool to be a Clipper fan, man. Now it's epic to be a Clipper fan because we got the new shiny toy that landed from outer space next to SoFi. That thing is like, it looks like the Borg may have battled our new dome at some point on Star Trek.
And if you don't know about Star Trek, I'll translate that. Nerd.
Oh, that was Klingon for nerd in the end. Why did you guys gravitate towards the Clippers? Henry, you can start. You just counterculture guys like me. You can't like the most popular team in the city.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's not exactly how it happened for me. We got season tickets. Oh, I'll go back a step. I did want to move. I never lived in a sports city. I'm a military kid. I'd never lived in a sports city. I was raised a Cowboys fan, but never lived in a city that had a team. And yeah, when I got here, I think that I wanted to go to a game, and a bunch of obnoxious Rockets fans were like, "We got an extra ticket for the Clippers. You want to watch them get destroyed by our Rockets?" And I just couldn't stand their arrogance. And so I rooted for the Clippers, and the Clippers won.
Hey!
And then the next year, and by this time, Chris and I had become immediate best friends. Like, we met at an audition for a Shakespeare play.
We were in the show together. Yeah, we
met in the callback.
And we both got the role, yeah.
And so I went to a tire store in Hollywood where if you bought as many tires as you bought, you got a Clippers ticket in the 300
in the nosebleeds. Yeah.
And so Chris and I went and brought our dates with us. And the dates didn't work out, but we've been in a lifelong relationship ever since, really.
With the Clippers.
With the Clippers. Sure, that's what I meant.
Did you get 4 new tires for each date as well? Like, I thought that's where you're going with it. We brought them to the tire shop.
They're like,
No,
you
this
don't
we can get more
need
tickets.
so many spare tires.
They drove Vespas, so they got 2 new tires each.
But then the next year, maybe the very next year, I heard on the radio, it's the cheapest ticket in the NBA, and you could buy one, get one free Clippers season tickets. Yeah. We were in the 200 section for like $600 a piece for the season.
That's crazy.
And I think it finally escalated to 900 each because it was buy one get one free, and then that
went away.
What year are we talking here? What year?
02 was our first year of that.
It was when they traded.
So they traded Darius Miles to Cleveland.
Foolishly.
But Andre Miller.
And Andre Miller's worst season in his career, and he'll tell you that.
That's right. Was our first season the Olowokandi season?
Olowokandi's last year.
And so we would fourth. We were in the stands as people were booing him, screaming, "Please! He needs your support now more than ever."
We were always the positive guys because we're actors and we're so used to constant rejection and continuing to go.
We also love to like things,
and we like to love things. That's absolutely.
Is it ever hard and difficult to be the self-proclaimed homers of Clipper Nation with this team? Because you guys admit to it all the time. I heard 82-0 is what they're going this season on your most recent podcast.
100%.
I'm more pessimistic. I think they're going to be 81-1.
Oh, stop.
Fair and balanced.
You didn't even think they were going to get 60 wins, I want to say, in our scheduled day cast.
Oh, I'm not sure they'll get 50, but we'll get to that.
Oh, you devil.
I'm positive I'm still going to have a great time, though.
Oh,
how did you...
You know what, Adam? It isn't... It was far easier when we went 12 seasons or whatever insane number it was without ever hitting 500 basketball to just have fun. And then when we got Blake Griffin, which to me was the turning point of the team becoming relevant and players wanting to come and play with us, expectations started to rise. And it just, as you know, the history of the Warriors getting good at the same time, just behind us getting good and injuries really stopping what was our first great shot at a championship run was disappointing, but also we'd never been there before. The Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, 2-1-3 era coming together, it didn't ever have, for me, the same feeling of, oh my gosh, here we go. But it was a harder punch in the stomach when injury also stopped that. And I don't believe in Clipper curses and all that kind of stuff, but those moments of making it all the way through the season and then getting to the postseason and not having full strength and still almost making it through, those definitely were hard to stay positive. I still had a lot of fun. I still believe in the Clippers.
I'll tell you something. The first 10 seasons we were there, we've been going to basically every home game for the past 22 years. The first 10 seasons, there's one winning season, I believe it was, in 2006. And that was Radical, Sam Cassell, Cat Mobley.
Oh my gosh, so great.
EB.
That's right.
They would have beaten the Lakers in the second round, the L word. Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot that season.
L word.
That's right. And that's the season we laid up to try to get a better, favorable postseason, wasn't it?
We beat the juicy, moist Nugs. We beat the moistest of nugs.
We smoked those
nugs in the first round. And then LA, the hallway series, which by the way, can never happen.
No more hallway series.
Oh,
Makes me sad.
God.
Well, some say the hallway series was won by the Clippers as they won more of those battles at Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena, in the head-to-head matchups from 99, 2000 season on.
Wow.
They have the winning record against the Lakers in that building in the hallway series, the all-time winning record by 2 games, I think.
I mean, I knew we owned them for like 10 plus years.
But the Clippers started behind, like they were down 25 games or something.
By a lot.
But I think it's something to the effect of, 27 of the last 35 games they won against the Lakers. So,
and then you know this better than I believe this is, we've had 12 or 13 winning regular seasons in a row. I believe that's like, what is it, 12 or 13? I don't know.
13, which is the current longest streak in the NBA. The Spurs had it, of course, forever.
Forever, yeah.
But then when they finally missed the playoffs a few years back, the Clippers became the longest running team with a winning record in the NBA.
I'm glad we got out of crypto when we did then, while we were ahead, because LeBron is just getting younger.
You told me, what do I feel like being the Clipper homer? I got to be honest, like, I think it's pretty radical, Adam, that like when the Clippers win it all, and it could be in a year, it could be in 10 years, it could be in 25 years, there will be hundreds of people that think of the three of us, you know, like, and you're not as big of a homer as us, Adam, but I do love the fact that you're this new school journalist, Clipper reporter, Clipper commentator, what have you, that is not a hater. And so same with Farbod, same with Tomer, same with Joey Lynn. Like, I love all these newer guys that don't hate on the Clippers, because the old school guys, when I started, the Dan Wyke, who I love, the Brad Turner, who I love, they like hated the Clips.
Yeah.
Like Dan Wyke asked me after a playoff game during Diamond Don, the fiasco, when like, I don't know, it was like we beat the Warriors in 7, but it was some home game that we lost. And he looked at me, he goes, how do you even like these guys? How do you like these guys?
They're our team.
They're our guys. They're our guys.
They're our guys. The take I hate the most to that end is when something bad does happen to the Clippers or they get a loss and people say, see.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. They can
29 out of 30
basketball.
teams. 29 out of 30 teams don't win it all every year. Like, get out of here.
And we're playing winning basketball. Just the injury bug. That's
what I like to say about Clippers fans is, you know how they're the best fans in sports? Because they're still here and they still exist after everything they have been through.
Well,
it has been insane.
That was always my pushback. I love my favorite Clipper of all time has been, and probably will continue for a long time, to be Blake Griffin. And there was one game in the postseason, like, where he'd gotten interviewed and then he got on a microphone and was like, hey, we just need you guys. We need these guys, you all to be louder. You're not louder. And it's like, well,
I remember
to be fair, Clippers fans have 20 plus years, some of them, of watching this team have leads and then collapse. And that wasn't true of the Lob City era. But there is in the real old heads.
In the postseason.
There
was a 3-1 lead.
For the real old heads, you go to some of these stadiums and watch basketball games and your team is winning and then they go down 10 and they're like, it's all right. And the Clippers, they go down 10 and the people have been watching for a long time go, oh, nuts. But
fans were waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time.
But we also turned a game because we wouldn't allow that to happen. Chris, what was the game where we were behind the Clippers bench and I was screaming, where I made everyone put their shirts on?
It was game 7 versus the Spurs with Chris Paul doing the layup over Tim Duncan's fingertips.
And we were down, and Chris and I moved down to about
lower bowl,
10 rows behind the bench.
Yep.
I started yelling at people to put their free T-shirts on. First,
and you kept yelling, "We will win!"
And I said, "We are going to win!" Yeah. And then other people started screaming it. I think because they were terrified.
Well, and also we're such egomaniacs that we think that made a difference.
It did. When the whole stadium starts screaming, "We are going to win!" and then suddenly everyone starts hitting their shots. You think that's unrelated?
Well, sure. I guess not.
Momentum's a funny thing. What was on those T-shirts? Was that all hands in? It takes everyone. Give no quarter. What was the motto that year?
Sure. I think it was just yar.
Dude, the worst one is playoffs our way. I was like, so we squeak out in round 1 or 2. Like, let's not do playoffs our way. Let's do a new way. Let's do a new way of
street lights, not spotlights.
Look, there were some understandably regrettable slogans along the way. But
all right, so yeah, Adam, I don't mean to interrupt here, but usually on our show, I do some Clippers trivia, and I ask Hank, okay?
Is it that time?
A trivia question.
It's not your show. You don't get to drive it.
Just you shush,
Burbank. I'm just hanging out, guys.
So, Adam Auslund, I have a question for you, and this is not Clippers trivia. This is Chris Kawhi Clippers trivia. Chris Kawhi-centric trivia. I'm going to ask Adam. I'm going to ask Hank this question.
Is this Googleable because it's Chris Kawhi?
I mean, you guys can feel free to cheat. You guys can use your notes. It's an open book.
I would never.
It's an open book test. Now, I'm on the official Clippers talk show, Clippers Talk, with Adam Auslund, host of Clipper Talk, as well as host of Clips and Dip, a fabulous Clippers podcast. What do you think that I got for dinner tonight, knowing I was going on Clipper Talk. Let's start with Adam Auslund. What do you think I ordered for dinner tonight, knowing I was going on Clipper Talk?
I know.
So this is testing my knowledge of your guys' show basically right now. Correct?
Or your knowledge of Clippers, or your knowledge of talking about Clippers, your Clipper Talk knowledge, your Chris Kawhi.
So it's not related to the Clippers. It's related to you personally in your stomach?
No spoilers, bro. No spoilers.
Can I call a friend? My God, Henry, pick up the phone.
Oh, I can guess. I think you got Los Angeles Fish and Clippers.
So fish and clips?
Yeah, fish and clips.
Oh, so
Fish
like,
oh, you got dip. You got some dip. That has to be it, right?
All right, so hold on a second. There probably is some dip in here. There is, and it's going to be a dead giveaway.
Oh, you got the free Chick-fil-A?
Okay. 2 free throws
Chick-fil-A!
in the fourth
Come
quarter.
on! I got Chick-fil-A. What I'm going to go to Long John Silver's and get fish and clips? Get out of here!
You would if they had a Clippers named fish and chips.
Oh, dude, if Long John Silver's was the sponsor, I'd go every meal.
Exclusively.
I'd get type 2 diabetes and I'd be 100 pounds heavier.
If it still existed, by the way. Okay. Yeah, I missed that one. Fourth quarter. Should have known it was Clippers related. You missed 2 free throws as the road team. Everybody gets a Chick-fil-A sandwich here.
I think one of my highlights of last season was Boban intentionally missing both free throws in the Clipper fan appreciation game and gave the entire building free chicken. That was classic Boban. I love that.
Adam, I would love to circle back and answer your question, which is what's it like being the positive homer?
Clipper homer.
And I think that reality can be a bummer, and it's not very difficult to look at and find the things that are wrong when a team loses or when things fall apart and stuff like that. And I think that there aren't a lot of fair weather Clippers fans in my life. They're old school. They've been around a long time, and they're all in. And we're excited to be a voice for them because we get a lot of messages from people who are like, "Hey, man, thanks." The last thing we want is to hear how bad it is when we lose a game. Yeah, especially because a lot of times we're having these terrible conversations about the Clippers when they're still winning.
There was a time when we would only do shows after playoff wins and not after playoff losses, hoping that would
it didn't help
them into a championship, and it did not help.
No, it did not help.
We eventually had to ClipCast after a loss.
People were like, "How can you quit doing the show?"
You're right.
I just remember listening to your playoff preview against Dallas and Chris calling my ass out for giving the Mavericks credit for bringing in Gafford. And who else did they get? PJ Washington.
Yeah, I did. I was like, why does Adam Auslund love these guys? And you were right, by the way.
Right.
The Western Conference champion, so you called
it. Right. He was right.
Well, I don't think I understood exactly where you were coming from. Because when you said Clips and 4 in that series, it's because it's part of the show. It's part of your character on the show. And I was like, is this guy crazy here? What's going on with Chris?
Also, that's
I think my wildest take that literally pissed people off. Like Lucas Hahn still to this day won't talk to me. I was like, Terrence Mann greater than SGA. And it literally it broke people's brains.
I couldn't handle it.
And I was like, because Terrence Mann, game 6, round 2, SGA didn't do that for us. Yes, SGA is MVP caliber.
You meant greater Clipper.
Of course, I meant greater Clipper.
Makes sense.
But also it's on brand.
SGA.
It's on brand for me to do that. You know what I'm saying? To say something completely outlandish and not based in any sort of sport fact. It's all sport fan fiction coming from my mouth to the Clipper Nation's ears. But someday it will be true. And maybe we won't go 82-0, but we're going to win that damn chip one year. We're going to win that chip. And they're going to think about us when they win it. We'll be at that parade, all 3 of us.
Oh, yeah. Is Wylde your real last name or a stage name?
No, my true, my government name is Ralph Lawler, but that was already taken.
Bingo.
Oh me, oh my, Adam. Oh me.
I will be, by the way, visiting with Ralph Lawler and doing an interview up in Oregon, in Bend this weekend. So it might take a week or so.
Joe.
Sweet Joe will be there. I got a cameraman. It's going to look good. It's going to look professional.
Nice.
I probably won't be, but Ralph Lawler will be. I just revisited his book again and read it again this past weekend, so I'm prepared. But if you guys have questions in the comment section, put them in, or if you guys have anything you want to know from Ralph Lawler and what he's been doing in retirement or whatnot, I'm sure you got some creative, fun stuff you'd like to ask him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, first of all, I know he doesn't really care, but what I mean, if he could pick, would he rather have a statue at the new stadium, okay? Or would he rather they retire his number and the number be 100 for Lawler's Ball? So that's my question for you to ask Ralph when you see him up in Oregon.
If he had to pick, because it's also possible both.
And it's also possible neither. Like,
he might be far too modest to want to answer, but it is a good question. That would be the jersey number for sure.
100,
they do so.
And not 100, not a microphone. Like 100 Lawler in the rafters.
Right.
And by the way, what if the one is a microphone?
Okay, there you go. There you go. I'll take it.
With the zeros in there.
Who do you think should be the first retired jersey hanging from the rafters, and when?
Blake next year.
Oh my God. Hard agree. Hard agree. 100% agree.
As Henry said earlier, that was the turning point. Brian Seaman says it all the time, but he helped put the Clippers on the map because all of a sudden, every night they were on Sports Center, whether or not they were winning his initial rookie year after hurting his knee the first year in preseason, they were exciting. They were fun to watch, and Lob City was just getting started. Then you bring in CP3, and the era was truly born. But
and Hollywood. I mean, also Will Ferrell, smart enough in the very early days of Funny or Die to bring Blake Griffin in to do sketches. Sure. No one had really come straight into the NBA or any sport immediately looking to tackle the entertainment industry like Blake did.
He was in every Kia commercial going on. He was everywhere. He jumped over the car with the pass from Baron Davis in the All-Star game and the dunk contest.
And then he punched a guy.
He sure did.
But they were like best friends too.
He warned him.
DeAndre was his best friend.
Well, it was his best friend of the equipment manager.
Yeah, that guy was a third wheel, man.
Okay, and maybe he was third wheeling a little bit.
Follow-up question.
Sometimes you're better friends for it. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think they should retire DeAndre's number? He's got a lot of records, a lot of Clipper records. Yeah, I agree with you, Adam. I think they should. Blake and DeAndre. Both.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say L-Word fans do not like hearing stuff like this. Other fan bases wouldn't understand it. But if you take from where the Clippers were with all that losing for so long, and we just talked about 13 straight winning seasons, this is progress. 10 years with Steve Ballmer, 10 years with a great owner after having an owner who was actively working against them for 40 years almost.
And against people in general, working against the people of Los Angeles.
Yes. If ownership is the greatest advantage in sports, the Clippers were at a disadvantage for almost 40 seasons.
Did you guys watch Clipped, the soap com with Lawrence Fishburne with Morpheus as dude? The last scene was the best scene in the whole series.
I'd love to tell you I'll go back and watch it, but I
just fast forward to the very end. Just trust me. The last scene is the best.
Did you watch it, Adam? Did you finish it?
I did. I felt like it improved after it went along. Once it got into the meat of the issue by episode 3. I don't remember the very last scene, but I did feel like it progressed.
So it's Doc Rivers, played by Morpheus from The Matrix, and I believe it was Elgin Baylor, played by like some minister guy from Amen. If you ever watched the sitcom Amen with Sherman Helmsley, I'm pretty sure the minister was Elgin Baylor. Anyway, so it's Elgin Baylor and Doc Rivers in the Clippers training facility or in Staples Center. And Elgin is shooting free throws, and Doc Rivers and him have this little talk about like basically recapping what we just saw. And Shelley Sterling is kind of the bad guy. So Elgin is shooting free throws, and he goes, and Doc was like, "You're on a roll or something." I don't know. And he goes, "No, wait." He's like, "Wait, it's got to sound right." And he shoots it, and it goes black, and you just hear the swish. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I had goosebumps all up and down my body. Now, granted, I watched every episode naked in a bathtub filled with ice. But other than that,
I thought you were going to say like in a sauna with Doc Rivers.
With V. Stiviano.
Okay, can I get back on?
So the spoilers are over, I think.
Oh my God. Oh, you didn't listen.
I said, I don't want a spoiler. You told me to watch it.
I thought I was going to
to
see one of you guys in it, honestly. I was waiting for an appearance.
Clipper Darrell. I mean, Clipper Darrell wasn't in it, but there was an actor portraying Clipper Darrell. That was cool.
I would have wanted to be on. I would have wanted to have played Brad J.
No one gets that.
The long time Clipper in game.
He was not long time.
3 seasons,
Clippers,
maybe 2.
Like Tracy was way longer than
he called the X Games.
Oh, by the way, shout out to DJ Dents and Hannah, who are so good.
They're great.
They've been, and then also R.I.P. Rest in peace to fallen hero of Fatboy Smooth, who was the one, like, was such a wonderful hype man when like DJ Dents knew exactly how to utilize Fatboy Smooth. Like that, everything about that was great. And again, hats off to Hannah and Dents. They run such a great show.
Yeah, they're great.
People will go to Clippers games and I don't know. I just talk to strangers, man. So like people will talk to me. This is my first Clipper game ever. I've been to a ton of stupid L-word games. This is way more fun. I'm like, yeah, I know, because we don't hate ourselves. We don't have the lights out where you can't see your neighbor. We don't show up late. We're not just staring at our phones the whole time. We don't leave early. Like those fans are so spoiled. I think they've been in half the NBA finals. Like literally.
They're entitled because of their titles.
Exactly. But they've lost more than they've won when they got there, which I absolutely love. I think they're under
the Celtics in the 60s
in the NBA finals.
Thanks to the Celtics, who, you know, we kind of see eye to eye with them once in a while when it comes to the L word. Why do you guys? I wanted to ask you, just lay out all the reasons of why you hate the L word so much, and I can jump in too. Being from Sacramento, I liked Magic Johnson as a kid. He was my favorite player ever, and I liked the 80s Lakers and Showtime Lakers. I liked the colors. I was so young. That was enough to appeal to me. Yeah. But the Kobe Shaq era completely turned me off. And then the series against the Kings in 2002 where they got 27 free throws in the fourth quarter of that game 6. Whenever somebody says, oh, I hope we play the Lakers this year in the playoffs, I go, guys, I don't know if you want that. I know how a series like that can go. They're going to have every advantage possible.
Do you think it's because of their style of play that they get to the free throw line so much more than everyone else? Or do you think the league, the tables weighted?
All I know is I think they ended up taking, over the last 2 seasons, something like 300 to 400 more free throws than the next closest team to them, while being last in drives per game. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Wow.
It is hard to rationalize
That's the whole argument.
And I'll tell you another reason why Burbank Hank hates the L word. And by the way, he didn't used to. He used to be a big L word fan. He liked all LA teams when he moved to LA in the late 90s. Yeah. And who can blame him? LA Kings were great. The L word was great. The Clippers weren't. Dodgers were not great during that time, but whatever. They were fun. Oh my God. And I think that, by the way, is the team that has the most love throughout the city is the Dodgers.
100%.
Second is the L word.
It's a Dodgers town. Yeah.
100% a Dodger town. But Burbank Hank, one of the reasons that he's grown to hate the L word is because of their fans and the way they treated us at Staples Center. And I'm doing something that Hank hates. I am wearing a jersey with no undershirt.
Oh, I hate it.
As if I'm a player about to go into the
game. You're
a
fan you're at the beach or you're a professional basketball player, you could wear a jersey with no t-shirt.
I'm at the beach.
If you're at a stadium watching a game, I would rather you wear your dress shirt from work with a jersey over it, which I prefer as a look, to a civilian wearing no undershirt, bare shoulders, and a night out in Los Angeles.
Guys, like look at this farmer stand. This is one of my great farmer stands all time.
Wetsuit tan line.
That's worth showing off. Look, if there's a day to do it, it's today, right, Henry?
Oh my gosh,
we're having a heat wave, baby.
If there's a day.
I still don't like it. The story that happened prior was that before we got the season tickets, I got here, wanted to become a Clippers fan. They didn't really have a TV deal. So you couldn't really watch Clippers. You couldn't.
Not every game.
Not every game. And at the same time, I was living with a Lakers fan, and we became Lakers fans. And that was because every game was on TV. And then we got the season tickets, and I was still watching both teams, cheering for both teams. And then what Chris just said, when the Clippers were terrible, We would lose to the Lakers by 20-something points at our home game, and Lakers fans would cuss us out and call us, I'm serious, legitimately call us homophobic slurs walking out of the game. We're like, we're the worst and you're the best. Like, it was such a punching down.
Sore
it was
winners.
really hard to take. And that was during an era
Hank and I are perfect gentlemen.
Oh my gosh, it was so nice when we win.
Especially 20 years ago when Chris Wylde was in his 20s, so temperate, so mild-mannered.
We would lose games by
not
10.
At all a loudmouth.
I assume we wore suits to games.
Yes,
I would wear dress shirts from work and put a jersey over it, so not to offend Hank.
We would win. We'd lose games by 10 and turn around and heckle fans and say, "Oh, you're only beating us by 10."
Yeah. But that's why I loved the knuckleheads. They would rejoice and lose games. They were celebrating because they couldn't believe they were 19 years old in the league, the youngest team in the NBA, having the time of their lives. Like, how do you not get swept away in all of that? And truth be told, I am the son of a Cubs fan, long-suffering Cubs fan. I saw what it meant to this man to see his team win a championship in his lifetime after going 60 plus years of his lifetime without a title. And he would say, Reverend Doctor, and he would say, like, oh, Clippers, this and that. I go, oh, shut up, old man. You just won one 100 years ago. We haven't won one 100 years ago. So like 100 and whatever years later, they win another one. And it meant the world to him. It meant the world to me. I remember they announced that at a Clipper game. I was at a Clipper game when the Cubby Bears beat the Cleveland not Guardians. And it was an amazing moment. It was a radical moment, and everybody was rejoicing. So anyway, a son of a Cubs fan, the Clippers just made all the sense in the world. And again, when we win it all, it will mean so much more to us than the L-word fans' stupid 20th, whatever, 19th, whatever it is. A couple of them are in Minneapolis where they actually have lakes. Like, get out of here.
I still hear these sarcastic remarks right now. I think Snoop Dogg had one on a podcast recently. Someone brought up
over it. Him and I
was on
Get Over It.
All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes. He brought up the wall situation and he made a crack about how are they going to be able to fill it with Clippers fans. Don't you guys feel like a lot of people are going to turn heads finally and realize, oh, this Clippers fan base is much bigger than we thought now that they have the Intuit Dome?
It's not shocking to me that popular rappers from the 90s are still living in the 90s. I'm talking
also,
to you.
They also weren't my favorite rappers.
No, dude, East Coast rap crushes.
Native tongues, bro. Native tongues.
Biggie was a huge underground Clippers fan. People don't realize this.
That's right. Christopher Wallace, man, he works for the Clippers.
Yes. Oh I'm sure he'll appreciate it. This is the Clippers fans' time, though, to if people thought they were hiding in the shadows or anything like that, or in the woodwork and weren't coming out, I know they've had a successful run over the last decade plus, but they have their own home and they have the fans to fill it now. They do. This is not just a grassroots thing.
No, they do. They absolutely do.
I was texting with Seaman and he said he was at some dry run. Maybe you were there, Adam, where like Ballmer invited like 6,000 fans or something. And it wasn't capacity, but there were 6,000 loud fans at that wall. And he was like, Chris, it was unbelievable. It'll blow your mind. It'll blow your eardrums. The advantage is real. The advantage that we're about to have starting October such and such versus the hated Phoenix Suns, the advantage is real. And I can't wait, man. Like, especially 13 winning seasons, bringing that with you. So keep that cooking. Like, we may not have a losing season in that building in the next decade. Like, why not go another 13? Like, let's see, man. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and we've never had any kind of a home court advantage. We've never had that.
No, I mean, in the postseason we did, man. Our fans got good at the end.
2021 was real.
We had we were down 20 plus, and our fans willed us back into that game.
Yes, I don't disagree with that, but there also was pretty much you wouldn't be surprised if any game of the season suddenly you were outnumbered by loud fans. Sure. There's never been a season where you'd be surprised if there was a contingent that was louder than you.
I mean, it was the usual suspects, though. It was like Boston and obviously L-Word and Warriors and Knicks fans and blah, blah, blah.
And then now, but only briefly, the Suns.
Who are your 5 most hated teams? I know the Suns might be number 2.
So definitely L-word, Warriors,
Warriors 2?
Suns.
Suns 3?
Yeah, but I would flip it just on who's more relevant. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's always going to be L-word number 1 for me.
Sure.
And then depending on who's more relevant, it's Warriors or Suns. If I had to
Suns
choose,
for me.
There you go.
Who would you choose if you had to choose?
I would choose Dubs and then Suns. But
I would choose Suns because they ain't never won nothing. They never won, man. They never won. With the Warriors, it's like, okay, you won it. You won 4 times and however many see. Okay. But the Suns suddenly started clucking around like they were the champs and they never won anything.
Suns in 4.
Suns in 4.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I think is your
That's
top 3 hated teams the same as mine? L-word, Warriors, Suns, reverse order, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Who would be 4 and 5, Hank?
Golly.
It's definitely Western Conference team. It's obviously Western Conference teams.
Well, I got a real loudmouth Knicks fan friend who won't shut up.
And they haven't won in a long time.
I
long time.
I know, but
Sounds
he's
like a New Yorker.
And
like a New Yorker.
He went and sat in the 300 section for Knicks Clippers on a Sunday afternoon
Clippers
and wouldn't stop texting everyone he knew. Felt like a Knicks home game. So
Clippers won that game. I'm pretty sure Clippers won that game.
But that's personal. That's not about the team. I really can't think of another team I hate as much as the 3 of them. Oz, do you have more?
I hate the Pelicans.
The Pelicans,
it's only because they beat us, not because I hate them.
That's brutal.
I hate them.
The Rockets, I didn't like only because when CP3 went there and the first game back at Staples Center was the little dust up he and Blake got into and then the tunnel thing.
Yeah.
There was some hatred there. If you want to go players now that we don't like, and I still will always appreciate CP3, but a lot of people don't like him anymore.
No. He's got such a huge chip on his shoulder. It's not our fault you're short, dude. It's not our fault that you were born 5'10" and you list yourself 6 foot or 6'1". That guy sees eye to eye when we're face to face. We're looking at each other dead in the eyes. That dude is 5'10" tops. Okay. I also think I'm going to say OKC Thunder. By the way, makes my top 5. Those people, because what they did to Seattle. Unless you're from Oklahoma City,
blame Stern for that.
They didn't do it.
But any one of those OKC
Starbucks
Thunder fans are front runners for a team that hasn't won. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
That was my first team. Was the Seattle Supersonics? Was my first team. I rooted for in basketball.
I like Seattle. I have a soft spot for.
They're gonna have a team any minute.
Oh yeah. #SonicsGate. Yeah, them and Vegas are getting the next 2 teams.
So my buddy is a diehard Seattle Supersonics fan, diehard Seattle guy, diehard Seattle Seahawks fan. He was doing business in Oklahoma City right before the stadium was about to open. Similar to our stadium. It's just about to open. They're getting ready. The hoopla. It's like a few weeks away. He said there was a tree planter outside the stadium with a sapling growing ever so delicately in the tree planter outside the brand new stadium. He said he took a dump in that tree stand. And I said, well, but that's going to help fertilize that tree. And he told me that is a hate tree that's growing outside that stadium, a cursed hate tree. So the Thunder could never win because of that hate tree that's growing outside. Oh, and by the way, have you ever been to OKC? Do you know anything about the haunted hotel that the players have to stay in?
Thank you for changing the subject, by the
way. I've only heard you guys talk about the haunted hotel, to be honest.
Okay, we got to go deep dive because I think my friend took a dump at that hotel and it's been haunted ever since.
Well, probably an unholy shit.
Let me know when it's over.
Something demonic came out, maybe. All
it's
right,
over. It's over. It's over.
What other players outside of CP3, who again, I also think is a guy that needs to have his jersey retired at some point into it, though. But right now,
possibly, yeah, I wouldn't
the
be
wounds, mad. It hasn't exactly closed yet. But if he came back this season, if they made that trade with the Golden State Warriors, I think very quickly people would get back on board with Chris Paul.
Well, that's like James Harden, right? That's like Russell Westbrook. Yeah. It's like I didn't like those guys. I didn't necessarily hate on those guys, but I certainly didn't like them. And then when they joined our team, I was like, oh my God, it is so fun rooting for James Harden. Holy cow, this guy is amazing. And he's our quarterback. That's why, by the way, people are sleeping on us. Let him sleep. James Harden, knock on wood, doesn't get injured a lot. He's going to give you 70 games a season. I don't know what the average is, but it's a lot of games. He plays a slow-paced game. He's got a big butt. He's a great quarterback. He like leans into guys. He takes his damn time. He's not getting injured. So I like that he's our quarterback, and we don't have to do the will they, won't they with Russell Westbrook. So it's James Harden's team. It's not Kawhi's team. It's James Harden's team. I think we're in good shape. Guys that I hate, obviously I hate Anthony Davis. I hate LeBron. Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
You guys hate Klay? See,
he's the worst. He's the worst. He had no chill when they were good, and his dad wouldn't shut up on the radio about, Klay. And he got interviewed, and they said he made up basically a question. They were asking him kind of question about the season. He's like, "Oh, are we the best team ever?" And it's like, no one asked you that, Klay. No one asked you if you're the best team ever.
To be fair, it was going around a lot at that time.
I know. And by the way, they did actually ask him, but it's just like, I just try to really back up my hate. I can't stand him. And then he went on and on about the Clippers and their fans and all this. I can't stand him. I'm glad he's in Dallas, and I hope nothing good happens for him.
Do you guys hate Luka for now until the Clippers could try to make a pitch at him in 2026?
Completely can't stand Luka. He's, by the way, everything that's wrong with our league. He's everything wrong with it. From the very first tip of the very first minute of the very first game of the season, he's running around crying about every play. And I'm saying that as a Clippers fan from during the Lob City era, where maybe we cried a little too much.
My nickname,
the refs.
My nickname for Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic just hate Luka Doncic. That's what I call him all the time.
Stand him.
I can't stand Luka Doncic.
He's the worst. Just histrionic, crybaby.
Dirk Nowitzki was the best. Dirk was the best.
The big German, very lovable.
Now, here's a social experiment. Chris, you've said you hate Luka Doncic. Chris, the Clippers just got Luka Doncic.
Favorite player.
He's the best. Oh, he's good. Just fun.
Guy's got that dog in him. Plays with passion.
He's got that dog in him.
Oh, you remember Brian Seaman, what he would always say for Chris Paul? The king of clever, as Chris was up to his antics then. You just have to spin it that way.
He hit a lot of guys in the beans.
King of clever.
How did it make you guys feel when you found out JJ Redick coaching the L word? How did it make you feel? Because I got nothing but love for JJ. I'm
a fan of JJ. I'm a fan of JJ. Obviously, I don't want the Lakers to succeed, but I have a hard time rooting against JJ Redick. I agree with a lot of his opinions. I think he has a great basketball mind. I don't think it's a bad hire. I do think Darvin Ham lost them 5 to 7 games last year. I think he was really bad. It's concerning to me, honestly, because I think he's going to make them better.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if he's got enough coaching. He's got no coaching experience, and they need a coach. It's just another LeBron. Yes,
he has a coaching staff with LeBron James, one of the other greatest minds in NBA history. Like what they didn't do right last year was simply play the roster and the lineup that got them to the Western Conference Finals the year before. It's not that hard to optimize lineups.
Or just call a timeout.
Was Ty Lue a head coach before he was? Excuse me. Was Ty Lue an assistant coach before he was a head coach? Yes, right. He was Doc's.
He was the assistant with Cleveland, and he was an assistant, with Doc before that.
Okay, and then he became head coach.
He got bumped up. Didn't he get bumped up because the coach got fired? Right.
And he became head coach.
He won the championship with Cleveland in 2016. They came back down 3-1. He was playing Richard Jefferson in that Game 7. Old ass Richard Jefferson, and it worked. It was brilliant.
Not only do we have a better building, we got a better coach, a lot better. Ty Lue is a lot better head coach than JJ Redick, unproven.
By far.
Of course, no doubt.
By far.
I just think JJ already, having not coached at all, better than Darvin Ham.
That's true. But being a great player doesn't make you a great coach.
No.
It took Jason Kidd a very long time to get any good at coaching.
Isaiah Thomas wasn't a good head coach. The one guy, Magic Johnson, the one guy who was pretty good and then just stepped down was Larry Bird with Indiana. Larry Bird was a good head coach who was an all-time great player. But JJ's kind of in between. Like when you have catchers become managers, he was a good player. He's not a Hall of Famer, even though he does have some three-point stuff going in his favor. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's probably right in that range of relatability, but still being able to get the most out of guys and be tough on them when he needs to.
Yeah.
I think they're better with him, whether or not that means, we have to be too concerned about the L word. I just know in the standings this upcoming season, I know you guys just went over the schedule for the Clippers. It feels like play in to 6 seed. 6 seed being the optimal.
That was what I walked away with from our schedule party episode, was that I thought the number we'd land, I can't remember the actual number of wins, would leave us in that 6th. I was thinking 6 to 8 exactly.
Right.
But
Adam's saying 6 to 10.
But
Adam's saying 6 to 10.
I know, but I'm an optimist. But that is but that's also as constructed, and I don't think we're going to be this team all season.
Well, again,
we don't have a second string power forward, and our power forward can't finish a season. We got to get more guys.
Yeah. If you tell me Kawhi's playing 60 plus games, I could say, okay, they have a real shot at the 6th spot, maybe even the 5 spot if things broke their way or if they still made another move.
But we still don't have a backup to him. PJ Tucker? Who's our other power forward?
I don't know if PJ Tucker's going to be on the team.
That's what I'm saying. There literally
Nicholas Batum is the backup, and he is somebody who's going to play 20 minutes a night at most. So that's not a great situation. Kobe Brown will get minutes there. You know, if you wanted to play Jordan Miller, if he could guard up a little bit more, I don't know if he can, though. Amir Coffey, same thing.
We have a Kobe. We have a Jordan. We have a Kobe and a Jordan. Adam, while I'm on your show, can you please talk to me about our juniors? I know everything there is to know about Brandon Boston Jr., but we got 3 juniors on the squad. We got a Porter Jr., we got a Jones Jr.
That's who I want to know about, Derek Jones Jr.
I don't know these guys.
Derek Jones Jr. will be our starting small forward, but I don't know much about him.
You think he's going to start?
He's going to play the 3. I think they're going to start James Harden next to Terrence Mann, next to Derek Jones Jr., next to Kawhi, next to Ivica Zubac. The only other guy I could see being in there.
Batum.
No, I think Powell, possibly for Terrence Mann, but I don't want that because I want them to be more defensive oriented. And with that starting lineup, outside of James Harden, you got 4 great defenders on the floor.
That's right.
If they're going to lean into defense, which they need to, remember they came into last season saying they want to be a top 5 defense and get back to playing defense. They finished 17th, and they were worse than that. The last 70 games, they were miserable on that end.
But wait a second. That was the thing, right? Was that we brought in James Harden, and everyone said, get ready. He doesn't play any defense. And for about 6 weeks, he was the best defender the Clippers had and one of the best defenders in the league. He suddenly was playing defense. And then it just stopped.
I would definitely.
Oh, he was great. He was getting steals. He was getting stops. Okay. All right. I'm being hyper. Oh, now we're going to start calling each other on being hyperbolic. Now we're going to.
Do you guys ever do that?
82-0.
He definitely has the best beard in the league. He has the best beard on planet Earth.
No, he was great. He was covering guys. He was getting steals. And literally on sports radio, everyone was like, wow, James Harden's playing defense. This is great. And then he just stopped.
I think his effort was where it needed to be while still being one of the worst defenders on the team. But for him, for his standard, he still was doing enough, and guys didn't have to cover for him enough. And where he's bad is off ball. He gets caught watching far too often. But he was
getting steals during that December run.
He's always gotten he's led the league in steals before. Like Allen Iverson led the league in steals before. Doesn't necessarily mean he was a great defender. Those guys crash passing lanes. They take risks, and therefore they give up a lot of plays.
All right, that's fair.
And he's got busy hands, which I know you love, Hank. He's got busy hands. That's why
you guys have seen
steals a lot of complaints from you. That's for sure.
Justin Rousseau put together something
Fly by Night on.
Oh, wait a second. Is it Rousseau?
It's not. I just have always.
I've been calling him Justin Rousseau, and I'm like, that's why he doesn't. Oh,
he's not French. He's like
Justin Rousseau.
Sacre bleu.
What did he say?
He put together a mix and called it, speaking to the steals with James Harden, the James Harden strip club mix. All his highlights of all his steals, and there were plenty of them. So when they went 26-5 during that 31-game run, to your point, Henry, he was more than doing his part. He was not a complete sieve or liability on that end. Now, their offense was so damn good. Defensively, even when they weren't great, it didn't matter. But still, they were good enough on that end for a section of the season. Where the hell were we?
You guys don't think we could do a 26-5 out of 31 run with this current lineup? I'm getting that vibe.
I don't know that. I really don't know enough about Derek Jones Jr. Right. I don't really know about Derek Jones Jr. And it feels like some of these guys people are excited about that we've gotten. I just don't know enough about them yet.
I still don't know if it's Michael Porter Jr. or Kevin Porter Jr. I still don't know. It's
Kevin Porter Jr. and he's not related to Michael.
And Michael is better.
Michael is proven and a $200 million player and was a top 4 player on a championship team a couple years ago.
Adam, you could have just said yes.
Drafted him.
Sorry. Yeah, they could have had him. They could have had him. They already had SGA. Instead, they went Jerome Robinson. To be fair, a lot of teams passed on Michael Porter Jr. because of the back issues, and I think he missed his first season because of that too.
Also, to be fair, Terrence Mann greater than SGA. So, to be fair.
Some say.
One person says
the last name Wylde.
Yeah, and maybe Terrence Mann's mom also says that. Like I think 2 people say that.
No doubt. Kevin Porter Jr. is very talented though, guys. It's the off the court stuff that is obviously
we got a fair amount of off the court stuff coming that just came our way that is also we'll see. He's not our only guy who's had some problems.
Kai Jones had some mental health issues and looks to be healthy now in multiple ways there. He had an ankle injury, he didn't play in the summer league, has tremendous upside. I think he just turned 23, but can jump out of the gym, could be a rim runner type of big. That would be a great tandem with James Harden at times. Kevin Porter Jr., he put up 50 on Drew Holiday in a game for the Houston Rockets. Like he averaged almost 20 points per game a couple of years ago.
You like that?
The issue is off the court. And he is on a 2-year deal. So it seems like the Clippers are believing in investing in him.
Comeback clips, man. Comeback clips. These guys have comebacks when they come here, like Reggie Jackson, Nicholas Batum. There's a lot of guys where they get a second shot with the Clips and you're flying under the radar and you're living in this beautiful West Coast with the gorgeous weather. And it's not all the pressure that the other guys get. So you can really shine. Yeah. We'll see what happens. It could be a redemption story.
Adam, are you sick of talking about Paul George?
No. If you guys, I want to talk about it with you guys, to be honest.
Well, I could cover ground that's been covered, and I'm happy to do it. But I am curious what your feeling is about what his season is like at Philly. We all know what he did here. He underperformed here. He said he didn't want to be the number one option. He shirked his responsibility. He didn't put forth full effort, and then complained that he didn't get number one money, and then aired the laundry all out. Like that's the long and short of it. And I loved
left. Burning bridges like this on the way out, when I think it would have been close to like maybe 60-40 boos to cheers when he came back on November 6th. Now it's going to be like 90-10 boos to cheers. And that's all self-inflicted. It's his own doing.
Yeah.
We know how it is having a podcast and having to talk a lot. And sometimes you get yourself into trouble. But as Paul Scheer brought up, you can also edit that stuff out afterwards. I think he has enough producers on that show to take it out. Could somebody get in his ear and say, maybe calling your former team the B team that you said you grew up rooting for? So therefore, you should have known where their place was in Los Angeles. So why were you acting surprised all of a sudden when you realized, oh, it's not the same as the Lakers? And by the way, the Clippers are on their way. We'll see who has the future.
And why'd you say no thank you to the responsibility of being the leader and then complain you didn't get matching money? You literally said in multiple interviews, I just want to be Robin. I just want to be the number 2. I don't think I'm a number 1. Then what's the problem?
And then said, just give me what Kawhi got. And then 2 sentences later said, so they offered the 150. And I'm like, we're in the ballpark now. Wait, you just said, just give me what Kawhi got. They offer it and you don't take it still. Now,
so do you think it'll be the same? So then that's my question. Do you think it's going to be the same thing in Philly? Do you think that Embiid's going to be injured? Paul George is going to it's just going to be another exciting start that goes nowhere?
I think there's a high likelihood of that just because of Embiid's, his lack of availability in the playoffs has been very similar. And even when he has been available, there's been a dirty little secret around Embiid that he really hasn't performed to his capabilities in big spots in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Healthy or not, he has not been the guy. Obviously, they lost in the second round last year to the New York Knicks, but I have question marks. Now, he has a young guy in Maxey, and Tyrese Maxey, who's only 23. That's very different than playing next to an older Kawhi, an older James Harden. You do have a young buck that you can rely on as an innings eater. That was brilliant for them and really better, I think, than Embiid in that playoff run for them last season. But I don't trust the health of the team, including Paul George. I know he's coming off a season where I think he played 78 games for the Clippers. I think some of that he pushed it to the max because he wanted to make sure to get that max contract. I don't blame him for doing that.
Money grab season. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, in February, when he was averaging 18 points per game and shooting under 40% or whatever it was, he didn't look right. He didn't look healthy to me, but he just felt like maybe he had to play through that. Now, he's also said maybe it was the contract issue. Maybe it was that getting into his head. I don't know. But him as a third option, it's a good spot for him there as the third option.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they're going to have all the pieces available when they need to in a playoff round.
Oh, so you think he's the third option?
Oh, he
not
is
the
the third
second
option,
option. And do you think he knows that and he wants to be 3?
Oh, I think he's thrilled. And I think he's in for a hard, rude awakening when they said, what are you most on his own podcast? What are you most excited about playing in Philly? And he said, the fans.
He's so screwed.
He's screwed.
Philadelphia's the worst.
Kill him.
Philadelphia is the worst part of New Jersey.
The worst kind of person.
Philadelphia is the worst part of New
batteries
Jersey.
at Santa Claus.
They
are
like Clipper fans are sweethearts.
So
we are
nice.
Sweethearts.
Family
and we are
friendly.
so loyal to the
They're gonna
soil.
kill him.
They're going to grill him. They're going to kill him. He's
the
dead.
First time he
He's dead
doesn't
on the
get
water.
100 points in a game, they're gonna kill
He's
him.
dead on the water. He's dead on the water is how they say it there, I think.
I'll predict with you guys. Tell me if I'm onto something here. At some point during the season, whether regular season or the playoffs, he's going to have a podcast P blackout where he goes off the air because he feels like if he doesn't, he's going to be highly criticized by his play even more because they're going to say all he cares about is the podcast.
If that happens, will you have? If he does that, will you have us on immediately to talk about it?
Or he has a podcast P blackout where he gets blackout drunk and says what he really feels about the Philadelphia fans. They are terrible. There's a reason.
They're brutal.
There's a reason that George Washington
him.
crossed Delaware to New Jersey and put Pennsylvania in the rear view. That place is horrible. That place is horrible.
I would never want to mess with those fans.
They cheered when, was it Troy Aikman who LeVar Arrington broke his neck and he never played again? I can't remember. That wasn't Philly. It was, booing Santa. It is the toughest place to play in the history of sports.
Philadelphia's most legendary sports icon is a fictional character named Rocky. It's not even a real guy.
He has a statue.
It's not a real guy. That's the worst city. That is the worst city.
Oh, now hold on. It is a great sports city. Now hold on. That's one of our
it's horrible.
top 5 sports city.
Oh, get
all
out.
Around sports. Top 5 sports.
Bull crap.
Top
bull
5.
Crap. That's outrageous that you're saying that.
Well, they're hardcore.
The Sixers,
they're hardcore. They care.
The Eagles have won the championship multiple times. They're a great sports city.
Get out of here. That's like calling Cleveland a great sports city. It's like calling Cleveland a great sports city.
It's really fun sometimes.
If you're a horrible city, you're not a good sports city. You're a horrible city. And that's just what you are. Like Boston's a cool city. So it's not
a really cool city.
So they could be a good sports town. New York City, greatest city in the world. That could be a good sports town. Obviously, LA, coolest city.
Chicago got to be on the list.
Of course.
One of the original 5 NHL cities. Great sports town.
I heard something awful about Chicago sports over the last year. Over the last calendar year, somebody said this on sports radio that if you combined all of their sports and added up their win percentage, it was the worst of any city in the history of sports. Every team was so bad at once.
Wow.
Wait, lifetime?
And they've been through a lot already, Chicago.
Just right now. You're talking about just right now.
This past calendar year, they put together the worst win percentage combined of all their sporting teams. I don't know what it ended up being. They won 30% of their games with all their teams, something like that. Okay. I want to ask you guys, because I listened to the last podcast.
Smart.
Thank you.
Smart move. Very smart.
Schedule reveal podcast, and you guys went through the entire thing.
We're tired.
All 82. I'm happy to do it again.
You did the work. You did the work.
No day games.
No day games, but you brought up an issue I had when I saw the schedule. 16 back-to-backs. Do you feel
what is happening?
Yeah.
Why did we get a new stadium if we're going to have 16 back-to-backs? I thought that was an immediate fix would be that we would at least have the same amount of back-to-backs, not a record number. We've never had 16 back-to-backs.
We'll take 15, damn it, but one more, not 16.
I would have over more.
We would have taken the under. We wanted the under. Spurs.
We would have
What's
taken
the name?
any amount less. I don't
Silver.
understand it.
Silver. That's the thing, though. You got to win. Like, you got to win to get a good schedule. And you got to win a lot. So it's like the Warriors were not that great until they became great, you know? Yeah. So they weren't getting favorable.
They did it in the draft, bro. They did it in the draft.
I know. Jerry West
13 straight winning seasons over here. What do you mean you got to win?
You got to win. You got to win chips. You got to win multiple chips. Or
you think that's it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh, you think that's the reason?
Oh, 100%. Milwaukee Bucks don't have as many back-to-backs because they won a chip 3 years ago or whatever the hell it is. I guarantee you, take the last 4 champions and none of them have as many back-to-backs. I mean, obviously, I think we have the most back-to-backs in the league. I don't know. I don't have that in front of me. But I guarantee you, Milwaukee Bucks won one, right? Who else? Like who's a random team that won one? Toronto Raptors. Like, I guarantee you they don't have as many. You got to win something.
I'll say this. I think there are 11 teams that had 16 back-to-backs, and the Clippers were one of them.
Oh, wow.
Now, how many of them, though, had their own arena,
Right,
just built their new arenas, getting the All-Star game, is getting the Olympics, is doing all this good for the NBA, and they still have to deal with that.
They hate us. Not
to mention a team that it feels to me like the league would like to be relevant. Like they've been a marquee story. Why put them in a situation where they can't win
at all? Why does the
disgusting
league do any back-to-backs?
It really is bad.
Why?
It's bad.
Add a month, take it into July, no back-to-backs for any team. More superstars play every night, therefore
and by the way, in the playoffs, not a single team in the conference finals, those last 4 teams, not a single team featured a recognizable star veteran that had been around. You know, there was no LeBron, there was no KD, there was no Steph Curry. These guys, there were stars in it, but like our guys that are older that have been in the league for 10 years and are still the face of the league, we're all hobbled. There's so many injuries at the end of a season. Why do there need to be any back-to-backs? Especially then the complaint is, but I bought a ticket and I didn't get to see every player play. Well, then do less games.
They're never going to do less games, sadly, because that
truncated the answer to all your questions is money.
Yeah, and that one truncated season where I think we had 75. It was the 70s. It wasn't 82. It was in the 70s. But the math worked out perfectly that we played everyone in the East twice. We played everyone in the West 3 times. So there were no tiebreakers. The math worked so perfectly.
So great.
I was like, why aren't you doing this every season? But I get why they're not doing it. Whatever. And to your point about the old heads not being there in the Final Four, I loved it. I loved all the new
I loved
stars
it too. But I'm saying that if your teams are injured, what's the point?
But look at the Celtics. Look what the Celtics were able to do. They didn't have any serious injuries really all season long. Their stars stayed healthy.
They lost Kristaps and still won the damn championship.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
That's a good point.
And I don't think they had a top 5 player on that team in the end. I don't think that Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown are one.
But we are several seasons in a row where the download at the end of the Western Conference, at the end of the season is, wow, whoever made it to the finals faced nothing but injured teams. That has been a story for several seasons, and it happens because they're playing too much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big.
The Suns made it, but everyone was injured. Like that keeps being the story as we're going into the finals.
Here's the thing, just to go back to what you guys were saying, where Adam has the guys in a 6 to 10 window, Hank has the guys in a 6 to 8 window. You gotta be 1, 2, or 3 if you want to win it all. You just have to.
You said that. It's real hard in the NBA.
Yeah. Only 2 teams ever have won that were not.
They were returning champions. Both of the teams were returning. You have to be 1, 2, or 3, and it really helps to be 1. Boston Celtics were the best team in the NBA, and they won it all. They only lost like 3 times at home or something. They only lost like 3 playoff games or whatever it was. They had an incredible run, and I think they're for real. And I'm very glad that we're not in the Eastern Conference because Boston scares the crap out of me.
Is the championship window closed for this era of Clippers basketball?
Oh, hell no. You can't go 82-0 and not win a chip. No, I mean, I think Kawhi can still get one. I think we got to build. I think James Harden can lead us to the promised land. This team, like Hank said, is not going to look the same by year's end. We always make moves by the trade deadline. We've never really sat pat, like ever. It's been a long time since we sat pat. So, Kawhi can win one. He may not be the first option when we win. But Kawhi can be suited up and we can win it all. And I just want baby steps, man. Like I wanted that first Final Four and we got it, you know? I want to be the Western Conference champs. Like I want that. I want to win the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament. I
You're
want
the
that
one there
cup.
too.
We'll take it. Well, I think a lot. It's funny we don't talk about him because he's one of my favorite Clippers, and I'm glad he got his bag. But I'm very curious to see. I'm out. I'm very curious to see if Zoo's game has changed in the postseason. I'm very curious to see what
he gets better every year.
What he brings this
every
season,
single damn
and
year.
he has so deftly improved his athleticism. I'm curious to see what kind of fire he brings this season, and I wonder if he's ready to climb in and take the spot that Paul George left. Obviously not the position spot, but I mean, as far as being
scoring
a high option.
What was that game? He went 31 and 29.
He's getting better and better, but he needs to explode this season. And then I still think we need another piece.
I agree. It feels like they're a piece away right now, having lost Paul George, but they're in a decent position with more flexibility now also. So it could happen.
And the West doesn't scare me like it scares everybody else. I'm not scared of the West. I'm not scared.
Also, we got James Harden in season and never had a chance to implement him.
Right.
So I am also curious to see what happens. Like these guys
Hawaii
are
Harden.
These guys are going place. That's something the Clippers do beautifully, is travel together and bond and all of that. And you have to know that James Harden and Kawhi Leonard know whatever the question is about championship windows or bay windows or French doors, they do need to put up.
I have a Kawhi
They're running
Leonard,
out of shots.
I have a Kawhi Leonard question for both of you guys.
So do I.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Here we go. Now mine is so dumb and not at all sports related. There was footage. There was footage of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George playing golf, hanging out in Hawaii. Do you know what Kawhi Leonard was drinking in this video? It happens to be my favorite drink.
I know.
I know what he called it. What did he call it? Goat juice.
Goat juice.
They asked him, what is that? And he said, like, this is goat juice. We meant like greatest of all time.
Amazing. It was an Arnold Palmer.
It was an Arnold Palmer. Yeah. Now, follow-up question. What was on the bottom of that Arnold Palmer? Was it lemonade on the bottom or was it iced tea?
You have to link this episode to Kawhi to find that out.
I'm trying to think about when I had a Arnold Palmer at your house a few weeks ago at the Tiki Hut bar.
I'm going to say lemonade.
Yeah, lemonade. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, wait. No. I'm so sorry. It was iced tea on the bottom and lemonade on the top. Who drinks an Arnold Palmer like that? It's insanity. Everyone knows you put lemonade on the bottom and then iced tea on the top. But anyway, Kawhi
Auslund, what's your real
Kawhi drinks his goat juice with iced tea on the bottom and lemonade on the top. I've never in my life seen anything as crazy.
Good enough for Kawhi. Good enough for me.
What's your Kawhi question, Auslund?
I heard you guys talk about the load management stuff coming into this season and how they could treat him. In fact, we started off this podcast bringing it up. I don't know. At this point, I'm open to a lot when it comes to Kawhi Leonard. I used to shun and dismiss people who say, just wait till the playoffs and bring him back in March or late April. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you could do that either because you just won't make the playoffs. He has to play some to at least stay afloat and be in the hunt. But I don't know if he's playing a back-to-back all season long, and I don't know if he should be.
He shouldn't.
There's 16 of them. I think that's 16 games right off the top. That means the most games he could play is then 66 if he's available all the other ones.
And we don't have a backup forward that can play.
But here's the thing, boys.
We got nothing else.
Here's the thing, boys. This new stupid rule. He's gonna play these.
He's
gonna play these back to back. He's gonna play them. He played them last season.
I think you can get an exception from those if there's the right medical report, because that's what he got when he first came over to the Clippers. The NBA doctors had to look at it, sign off, and say, okay, it's fair for him not to play back to backs. I think it could happen again.
I hope it happens.
If there's any guy that should get a pass when it comes to this at this point, it has to be Kawhi. Obviously, he's injury prone. Obviously, trying to get him in a playoff series is also good for the NBA and their ratings. So anything you can do to make that happen, please.
16
agreed.
back-to-back, so that means he would be available for 8 and not available for 8, basically?
No. That means he's available. There's 16 back-to-backs.
So that's
32 games.
Aha. Okay. So 16 games
available for 16,
unavailable for 16.
Yeah.
Right. And as we all know, 82 minus 16 is
66.
and that's his sweet spot. So by God, do it. I just don't think they will, sadly, Adam.
You don't think they will, the Clippers or the NBA?
The NBA. I don't think the NBA signs off on it because they hate us, because we have 16 back-to-backs, because they don't like us. And then last season he played in back-to-backs, and then he got when you know the guy can
and
give
then
you
what?
60, that's what I'm saying. Know he can give you 60, just pay the damn fine or whatever it is. Deal with the ramifications and the repercussions.
It's not like Ballmer would be opposed to just paying the fine if it came down to something like that and they truly felt like this is what's best for Kawhi, NBA be damned. I don't know. I don't know how they'd go about that, but I think we've tried everything at this point.
Yeah.
So if he can only play 60 games in the season and you set that number going in, I'd be fine with managing him that way.
That's what Toronto did.
Yeah, they had a plan with their doctors and it worked out. Even though he was kind of limping at the end of that playoff run, he did make it through. But
there's no good answers here, my friends.
Yeah,
I mean the good answer is if he takes off back-to-backs. Honestly, that's
number one.
Yeah, but I just, unfortunately, because of this silly new rule, and they call it the Kawhi rule, I just don't think the league goes along with it, sadly. And so I want desperately for him to only play 60 regular season games, sit out these 16, so play 66. Honestly, play 60. Sit out another 6. Pick another 6 to sit out. Give me 60 and be available in the postseason, man.
As you guys mentioned, though, on the ClipCast, we're going to find out immediately because they have 2 back-to-backs in the first 6 games or whatever it is.
Ridiculous, man.
It's like how it
one of the toughest strength of schedules, and we have our own stadium.
The middle.
17 games in March. Why not?
At all. It didn't get better at all.
But honestly, no day games is better.
Yeah.
Games is better.
I didn't like. I know it had some effect, but at some point, if you have so many of those day games, and that was the complaint, right? We have too many of these matinee games.
Yeah.
Well, if you have so many of them, how did you never get used to them if you had so many? How did you never find a rhythm with them if you had so many of them?
I
you
bet
still don't do it in most of games. You don't do it in most of the games.
I think if you looked at the win-loss ratio of day games, it wouldn't be as bad as everyone makes it out to be. All these winning seasons in a row, you can't tank every day game and still come out on top with as many day games as we had. So I bet you, sure, we probably won more at night, but I bet you we were over 500. I bet you we were a winning ball club during the day. Not by a lot, but I bet you we were a winning team still. And now we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Which is not that bad a stat until you realize that we're talking about being around 500 on a certain type of home game.
Right.
So, I mean, okay, we were close to 500, but those are all
we were
home
over
games.
500.
And you like to think you go higher than 500 at home.
And they might have lost to under 500 teams more frequently in those matinee games too. But
they might have. There's no way to know.
Yeah. A couple more for you guys.
Good.
How much do your emotions from a Clippers game affect you throughout the week, depending on the win or a loss?
I once took a friend of mine to a Clipper game and we lost kind of brutally. Maybe we had the lead and whatever. It doesn't matter. I was walking back to my car. I used to always park on 12th and Hope because you got to have hope. And 12th led right to my entrance. And so anyway, after the Clipper loss, I was crossing the train tracks there on 12th and something, Figueroa maybe, or just past whatever that is. And I literally laid down on the train tracks after the game. And my friend was like, no, Chris. And he picked me up. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to do it.
Damsel distress tied down on the train tracks.
But I laid down on the tracks after that game. And Hank has been with me when I literally have torn.
How many jerseys did you throw away on the last game of a season? Autographed jerseys.
Autographed Olowokandi.
Autographed Odom, I bet. I mean,
I don't think I would have never done that. I not
Odom.
You
did throw an Odom away.
Don't you dare say that. That can't be true.
Was it after his second stint with the Clippers? Because that's
and it was at the end of a regular season heartbreak loss, and then you were like, suddenly you didn't have a jersey on, and you were gone. And by the way, you didn't say goodnight either.
No, I
were gone. I was like, I guess we're done. I guess I go to Hooters by myself.
I agree with that, but I disagree.
Hooters really dates this thing.
I disagree that
we've been doing this a long time, Adam.
I disagree that it was an Odom jersey because the most jerseys that I own of any player in any sport is Lamar Odom Clippers jerseys, and second is Blake. So I think I probably threw out a Richardson jersey for like, you know what I'm saying? I threw out some jersey. I threw out multiple jerseys out of disgust, and hats and ripped T-shirts. And yes, it's ruined my next day and it's ruined my weekend. However, it has also made my month getting one win. You know what I'm saying? It's made my year beating the championship Celtics on a Baron Davis buzzer beater. So it's like, for all the negatives, it did give me a wife and kid. So it's like the positives, it gave me a best friend, for God's sake. Like the positives vastly outweigh the cons, and we still haven't won a damn chip. So when we win the championship, I'll be the happiest man on planet Earth. I will cry tears of joy every single day. And now we don't have to have that stupid parade on Figueroa. It's Inglewood, baby. We're going to be parading around Inglewood, led by Mayor Butts, Henry Dittman's favorite mayor.
I love him. My favorite mayor. And by the way, I let it go immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
After a loss?
The next morning. The next morning. I'm bummed that night. And then usually I wake up and go, okay, here we go.
What about after
a series
over?
Oh, no. That devastates me. Devastates me. But I also don't like to podcast after a loss. I hate it.
I got to be honest.
I hate it.
Now that I'm older, I'm like, it doesn't ruin me anymore. Like
we're a little numb. We're calloused.
Exactly. They've numbed me to it.
Yeah, my family's healthy. My friends are healthy. I can usually get past it. But to your point, those bigger losses, they hurt.
Also, show business and Hollywood have chewed me up. And
we get a lot.
Way more times. Way more times than the Clippers ever did.
You guys have weathered the storm of failure for some time here.
Exactly.
Okay. Are we going to have more fun next season with lowered expectations?
Oh, are you asking Henry manage your expectations for Frank Dittman?
Or every game means so much more because just to stay afloat, they need to win. Like they're going to be on a razor's edge all the time.
No, I think I think that with Paul George gone. Well, by the way, last year I felt like we had less expectations at the end of the day, even with until James Harden came in. People were like, I don't know, they couldn't stay healthy. I think it'll be super fun in the new stadium.
Oh yeah,
I think we have lots of young guys and guys with who we haven't seen their ceiling yet in the league who have joined the team that are going to be really fun. The only thing that could make it heartbreaking and disappointing, frankly, is going to be if Kawhi Leonard can't finish the season. That's the only thing that's going to make the season not fun for me, is if we get another season where it looks like we're in the right place, and then suddenly, without ever seeing his leg turn around sideways or any of the other dramatic things we've seen with star players going down, he just seems to be injured, we hear after the game, after playing a quarter. That somehow makes it worse for me. Like, we were in the building when Sean Livingston went down. We were watching the game when Paul George went down. These things are devastating, but at least you're seeing something. And so to instead be just playing a game and he plays great, and then the next night you're like, he what? He wildin'. Like, it's like he's just hurt. That somehow makes it worse, because you're not just watching for an injury. You just don't know when he walks off the court if that was it for the season.
I mean, after 13 winning seasons, like, Ballmer's never owned the team and had a losing season. So it's like, I just don't, it doesn't equate to me that will be a 40 win or less team. So if that were to happen, that would absolutely devastate me, especially in our
I hear that. Season. I hear that. We'd be
like that. I would be crushed. I would be absolutely crushed.
Yeah, no, but we're not going to be that. We're not going to be that.
No, not at all. Why would we? I mean, like, Ballmer will buy his way to a winning season. I promise you that.
But I also think we have great pieces that they just haven't been implemented. We're going to learn a lot real fast. I've never been more interested. I've been more excited about a preseason, but I don't think I've ever been more interested in seeing how the pieces fit than I am this season.
I do wonder, like, are we going to miss and long for Paul George? I just don't think so. But like,
I loved him.
We're gonna find
sorry
out.
to say, I loved his play. He was my favorite Clipper during the time he was here, as far as his style of play. I loved him.
I just wanted more forehead. His forehead was way too short. Like, that was very distracting to me. I need
because his hairline's so good.
Yeah, his hairline was so low and so good. Like, it was very distracting to me. I like, get him gone. Put a headband on or get out of here. Go to Philly. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, boys.
Speaking of haircuts, bad ones, good ones, dated ones, hairlines. I didn't realize this till I did a little bit of research before this episode. Chris Wylde is in a series that made up some of my fondest memories when it came to basketball commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. And I was in Northern California at the time. I had no idea who this guy was.
Had that Nick Van Exel grace?
I've been thinking about
no-look confusion maker.
Was it Morris and Jerome? What were their names? Alan and Jerome.
I don't know if I was Alan. I don't know if I was Jerome. We never knew. I don't know to this day if I was Alan or Jerome.
Next to the original Mike's Hard Lemonade commercials that were fantastically creative, these were my favorite commercials as a kid growing up. And I found a couple of them online on YouTube, and I just would like to play one and revisit things here because
who led the league of assists last year? Should have been you, yo.
I can't believe this is Chris. This is a heroic thing for me.
Dragon.
Or Shaq attack. Yo, what I just say? My bad. I would relish showing off my mad dribbling skills on this much overhyped team. Yo, they okay. Yeah, they okay, but they ain't got the Allen Iverson grace. You know, if I was playing them, I'd be punishing them. Punishing them for thinking that they can stop this.
You cannot stop this. I'm fresh like a can of Picante, and I'm deeper than Dante in the circles of hell. Wow.
How the hell did you do those commercials? Like, honestly, I thought they would look worse with the superimposed stuff, given that it's 20 whatever years later.
Yeah, we made them in 2000.
At the time, I was like, how the F did they do this? This looks really good. And it still looks decent enough and fun enough. Where did you do these?
Right.
How did this happen?
So they auditioned in New York and LA. Okay. So the other actor's name is Dragon, aka Eric Weiner. And he was living in Brooklyn. They cast him out of New York. They cast me out of Los Angeles. They had me go to the Hollywood Y to see if I could actually even like kind of hoop or at least look funny while hooping. So they cast me. They cast Eric. Okay. They fly me to New York. We shot all these in New York. Like, we're on the stoop. We're at the playground. We're at the pizza parlor. Don't worry about it. So we do like a Knicks commercial. We do a Utah Jazz commercial, I believe, Malone Stockton. We do a Spurs commercial, and we do a L Word commercial. And we actually did 2 versions of the L Word commercial where I'm an anti-L Word fan in one version, and then I'm actually a fan in the other version. That took some acting. So they fly me. This is my first ever road gig in show business where, like, it's a union job, Screen Actors Guild. They're flying me 3,000 miles to set, whatever. It's the first time I was ever flown first class in my life. It was the first time I was ever in first class. No one thought I belonged there. They checked my ticket like 67 times. I got free drinks. I got free everything. Is this real silver? Put it in your purse. Put it in your purse. Anyway, so I fly to New York City. I stay at the Sherry Netherland, which is like one of the nicest hotels by like the FAO Schwartz, where like Tom Hanks played chopsticks with the piano on the floor. Like, it was epic. And the first day was the easiest day of shooting in my life. It's just me and Eric ad-libbing, riffing as like homeboys who just talk smack like New York style about basketball. It was the best. And so I thought, man, this is going to be the easiest gig of my life. Day 1 was the best. Day 2, whatever. Day 1, that night, I go out and party with all my homies from New Jersey. All the bridge and tunnelers come to New York City. We go big. They crash in the Sherry Netherland hotel room. I go to sleep at like 4 a.m. I have a call time at 6 a.m. The car's coming to get me at 5:30. I get 90 minutes of sleep. I was like, whatever. I don't need sleep. I'm just doing funny talk. I get there. Day 2 and day 3 are all in a giant soundstage that's all green basket, green floor, green wall,
Basketball
2 green
day.
hoops, 2 days of basketball where the
God.
only thing that's not green is me and the basketball and Eric. And they're like, okay, so we're going to take Nick Van Exel out and we're going to put you in. And he gets from point A to point B in 6 seconds. And it's like 50 feet and he's dribbling. And I'm like, oh my God, I got 90 minutes of sleep. So
I knew this had to be well choreographed.
And you're sweating gin. You are just sweating gin. And
did you guys come up with all the lingo and all the trash talk?
Yeah, like literally, like none of that was on the page. Like none of it. Like we just were in character. That one day, like the one day is all the setups, and then it was 2 days of special effects stuff. And that one day we were just in we never broke character. We were in those characters, and the directors like it was almost like they had a lot to do, but like every now and again they'd be like, what'd you just say? Oh yeah, that. Oh, we got to do that. You know, like Knickerbocker, please. Like that. No, you can't write that. You can't write Knickerbocker, please. You know, so that was an ad lib. All of it was ad lib. Like I think like, and it was so funny. They won all these awards. They won like best writing, and I was like, they didn't write that. Like that. I mean, whatever. It's an amazing concept. It's an amazing concept. But they did like the calling your best friend Boo. That was not in the
script. They should bring it back. Like they really should. These are so.
They almost gave us a movie like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure style, but it didn't happen. Almost. Yeah, they played those for 3 years, 3 seasons, great, like 3-year run, incredible. Made a lot of do-re-mi. I was very happy with that, and it kind of endeared me to a bunch of guys in the league. And when I tell like a certain generation hooper. Oh, you remember Alan and Jerome? That's us. Creep on in, creeping like a creeper. Like they know it. Like they know the lines. So like it definitely endeared me to a lot of basketball heads. So it's cool, man. That was like one of my favorite gigs of all time for sure.
It's awesome. Where can people see you right now? Because I know I see you guys in commercials all the times. I see you. I think I tweeted at you, Chris, back when you were on there. The Babysitter 2 was out. I tweeted at you. Henry, I've seen you on Mad Men, and I know you guys are working all the time. I don't want to embarrass you, but where can people, when they recognize your face on here and they're like, I know that guy, I've seen that guy, where would that be right now?
Well, you can always see what I've got going on my Instagram handle and don't bother going to X. I don't post anything on X. I just hold my name. So
I sold out.
It's the worst.
Yeah,
follow the worst. But like
follow at Henry Dittman on IG on X, and he always
at
tells
LA
you,
ClipCast
and at LA ClipCast. He always tells you what he's up to. Definitely watch Hank's prank show on Netflix. It's so good. Prank
Encounters.
It's a great show. And then watch my movies on Netflix. If you say them in order, it kind of sounds dirty. When We First Met, The Babysitter, Rim of the World. The Babysitter, Killer Queen, Tall Girl too. So if you watch those 5 movies on Netflix, and then if you're a real Chris Wylde fan and you got Prime Video, watch All's Fair in Love, but you got to skip to minute 14 and 20 seconds, okay? You don't need the exposition of why he's at the Ren Fair. Just go 14 minutes in.
It's fun. He's great at it.
And Anne Margaret is the queen. Christina Ricci is the princess, and I'm the prince. And just go 14 minutes into All's Fair in Love. It's one of the great Chris Wylde movies.
But where we would most like for you to check up what we're doing is at LA ClipCast and subscribe to our podcast and listen to us say great things about Adam Auslund.
Who does the song for you guys? And is the song changing now that Into It Dome's in?
So that song is.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
It's so tough because Adam, that song was given to us by the Clippers because Eddie Money recorded a song, gave it to the Clippers. And at the time we were the unofficial Clippers podcast. So they gave us the song.
That's the late great Eddie Money on that song?
Yeah. Dude, that's Eddie Money.
Oh my God.
It's like the real Eddie Money.
Oh, you can't change it.
I can't change it. You know what I mean?
Grandfathered in.
I know. And then it just goes and proves like how long we've been at this. That friggin' Eddie Money, who's dead, is singing about the Staples Center, which is now called Crypto.com Arena, and the team doesn't even play there.
It's
the
not
team
called that by
doesn't even
me.
play there.
I won't be calling it that.
No, what do you call it again? Dad lost all his money on the crypto game.com arena.
Yeah, Dad made some bad choices in an investment with his 401k funds.com arena. No, I just call it Staples. It's Staples Arena.
And I call it the hockey shitbox
Shitbox.
because it's a hockey arena built for hockey. And if you want to see basketball in Los Angeles, go to the basketball arena built for basketball, the Intuit Dome on Prairie. And I don't know the cross street yet, but I will learn it.
Oh, we will. We'll know it. We'll learn it too.
The Sam Bankman-Fried Arena or whatever. Yeah, you guys are all over it. I love the show. I've been a long-time listener. I have proof now. I found the old tweet from 2013. I'm going to put it somewhere in here. It might be here right now when I go into post and edit this thing later on. But I appreciate you guys doing this. It was a long time coming. Let's not take too long to unite on the show. And I'm somewhat confused.
Yeah, bro, we're pointing at each other. We're doing bits.
Yeah, we're pointing at the tweet. What?
Adam, dude,
it's off the screen by now. My God,
bro, it meant so much to me personally to get the invite to come be on your show, bro. Ask again. The answer will always be yes.
Yes, and we'll find you in the dome with our portable microphone and get you on our show.
Get on
from the dome. So very good acoustics.
And get me on my road trip mix game because it's stronger than you think.
Oh yeah, you got.
I heard the questions with Clips and Dip. Who'd you want to go on a road? I'll have you know. I just went on a road trip across the country.
I thought I picked you. I thought I picked Auslund as my
everybody.
road
I
trip
think
mix.
everybody.
I would have picked Auslund because I'm a '90s hip hop guy.
Yeah, bro.
Guy.
Like you like the same kind of hip hop that I like. I listen to your show, and you're the one picking the music. Clearly, I know that. And
we know
you're definitely the guy picking.
It's great.
I do pick it.
Yeah, I knew it.
We know.
Thanks to you guys for doing this once
again.
Bro,
our pleasure, man. Go Clips.
Let's go,
This
Clip.
has been another edition of Clippers Talk. For Chris Wylde, for Burbank Hank, I'm Adam Auslund. We will talk to you next time.
Go Clips.